Hi, beautiful people. How are ya? I hope you're having a great day. In my last video, I spoke about my allergy problems, pollen, dust. Some of you probably experience these symptoms from environmental allergies and possibly from food allergies. And I feel for you. Most researchers explain allergies as another associated condition like IBS or migraine. So today, let's talk about allergies. Back in 1996, it was observed that about 50% of fibromyalgia patients experience allergy symptoms. Today, in the US, about 30% of Americans suffer with allergies. That's a significant difference. And most likely, we had allergies long before we were diagnosed with fibromyalgia. In a 2019 study, researchers found that in 105 allergic rhinitis patients, 32% also had fibromyalgia. And in the general population, about 11% of adults in the US have food allergies. And to continue with statistics, about 90% of households have dog and cat allergens. And yet, about 48% of households have one or more dogs, and 38% have one or more cats. We love our pets, and we spend 90% of our time indoors. In a 2013 study, researchers stated, quote, "We found that 61.5% of fibromyalgia patients had rhinitis, 8.77% with asthma, and food allergies were present in 49% of fibromyalgia patients. They also found that 50.87% of patients had gastric reflux symptoms, and 52.63% had gastritis, and 66% of patients reported symptoms to milk, orange, and wheat. Orange. Specific milk proteins, or IgE, were positive in 50% of patients with gastrointestinal symptoms, unquote. But there are different types of rhinitis, and that's what I'd like to talk about. You can also have a medical condition with an unknown cause that mimics allergic rhinitis. Apparently, a typical harmless substance irritates and inflames the tissues in your nose for unknown reasons. In this type of rhinitis, no allergen is detected in the blood or by skin testing. Symptoms can be caused by irritation and inflammation. And about half of the people with allergies also have a non-allergic component to their symptoms, according to verywellhealth.com. So in allergic rhinitis, it tends to be seasonal. But in non-allergic rhinitis, it's more typical to occur year-round and is more common as we age. Acid reflux, or GERD, common in fibromyalgia, can cause nasal congestion, runny nose, and postnasal drip, especially in the morning after sleeping and from lying flat. High blood pressure medications and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin and ibuprofen can also cause it. Low thyroid function and pregnancy can cause non-allergic rhinitis, but also viral or bacterial infections can mimic a sinus infection, but then resolves after antibiotics. And as many of us know, strong odors, perfumes, changes in temperature and humidity, smoke, fumes, and bright sunlight can trigger physical symptoms like a runny nose or nasal congestion, along with itchy eyes and nose. Allergies and asthma can cause chronic rhinitis, which is inflammation of the inner lining of the nose. GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, can also cause rhinitis. And I experience this on a daily basis. It may also have been part of my problem in last Friday's video. But when allergic rhinitis, or what we know of it as hay fever, is an allergic response to specific allergens like pollen, dust, or pet dander. We know that in fibromyalgia, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA, is involved, where cytokines are important immune modulators. Higher levels of IL-1 and IL-18 and IL-33 and lower levels of IL-6 and IL-8. However, some researchers say those are high, not low, but either way, they're not in the normal range. In addition, patients with fibromyalgia have high levels of TNF, a potent inflammatory cytokine that is produced by mast cells and is capable of stimulating immune cells like IL-1. We learned about the excitability of the dorsal horn in fibromyalgia in a couple other videos. The prolonged nociceptor activation can result in its excitability in central sensitization, where mast cells play an important role. There's a great research article written in 2018 that I have linked below. Immunoglobulin E, or IgE, is released by the body in large amounts to battle allergy invaders. It's an antibody or protein produced by the immune system. People with fibromyalgia are known to have allergies. IgE is made by the B cells, a type of immune system blood cell, after we're exposed to a substance, and the immune system recognizes it as foreign and potentially harmful. In most cases of environmental attacks, the bronchial and nasal mucosa are affected and produce excess mucus. It can create all kinds of havoc, like an asthma attack or a sinus infection, or even bronchitis. So the excess mucus, coughing and blowing my nose, was frustrating for sure, but necessary. To determine what's causing symptoms of allergic rhinitis, an allergen-specific immunoglobulin, or IgE, antibody test is performed. You can get a specific IgE blood test to measure how much IgE your body makes in response to a particular allergen. But these usually cost per specific allergen, but not always. It measures the level of different IgE antibodies in a person's blood, including food allergies. IgE testing includes animal, dust mites, certain foods like milk, egg, peanuts, and others, insect venom like bites or stings, latex, mold, and pollen. And you don't have to stop taking your antihistamine medication like when you get skin testing. I had the skin testing when I was tested for allergies. And wow, I mean, they prick your back. That's how they did it with me. And I got humongous welts from the various things that I'm allergic to. Or you can have a total IgE test to measure the amount of antibodies in your blood, but there's no identifier as to what you're allergic to specifically. So food allergy testing at Everly Well tests your IgE antibody levels, but food sensitivity testing checks your IgG antibody levels. I've had this done before for food sensitivity testing. In a 2023 study, which hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, researchers showed a relationship between food intolerances and sensitivities and hypermobility, which we've talked about on this channel, which was said to partially mediate the relationship between fibromyalgia and autistic traits, which I found interesting. I've read a little bit about there being some commonality, but this relationship is stronger for the autonomic component than for pain and tenderness. The autonomic component would be like orthostatic intolerance, gastrointestinal issues, bladder issues, vasomotor issues like hot flashes and heart palpitations, secretomotor issues like from glands that secrete, like tears from the eyes, and pupillomotor functions like light sensitivity. As far as autism, researchers are showing that the same processes that trigger fibromyalgia and ME/CFS may also trigger autism in children. And that's where a nutrient called L-carnitine and acupressure can help. But that's for another day. You can also have low IgE, which is associated with chronic fatigue, asthma, a higher likelihood of autoimmune and oncological diseases, chronic sinusitis or inflamed sinuses, or otitis media, which is fluid in the ear. Basically, it just means that your immune system isn't working as well as it should be. But most importantly, always consult with your doctor, because it may not mean you have any of those conditions or any of the following conditions like diabetes complications, kidney disease, medicines that weaken the immune system like steroids, or weakened immune system that you were born with or developed, because those can also cause low levels of IgE. So my question to you is, have you ever had a food allergy or food sensitivity test? Or maybe an environmental allergy test for like dust and pollen? I'm going to put up a poll in my community page where you can answer whether you have either been tested or you just know that you have it, and whether you have symptoms of allergies or not. So that'll be fun to see. No matter what your allergy symptoms are caused by, check with your doctor. And thank you for subscribing, liking, and hitting that bell. Please remember to post something. Anytime you do any of these things, it helps my channel, and I really want to see this grow. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. food allergy was present in what? Different symptoms with different. ILs. I'm going to put